Yeah. We game time ready.
17, San Diego State taking on Ohio State. Another offensive board. Bradley throwing it. And San Diego State will win their first round matchup here in Maui.
And hit the three. What a way to win the half for San Diego State. Transition three for Henderson. And Arizona has matched its largest lead of the game at 16.
With it. 4 seconds. Black, tough off balance shot doesn't go. The foul is good. Tony Johnson, are you for real?
Still has it at 7. Now Bradley attacking, dishing, shot, good. Parrish. Aztecs by 2. 2.2 to play. Pandemonium inside Viejas.
Raw and unfiltered. We are the Sons of Montezuma podcast. It's the Kiss the Rings crew today with me, Mateo San Diego. You can find me at Mateo San Diego on Twitter. And I'm joined with my two Kiss the Rings co-hosts. You cannot stop him. You can only hope to contain him. He's known for rolling deep in the show. Well, he used to. They want him to be the show grandpa, but I don't think he's down for that. So it's SD Sports Fiend. What's up, man?
I'm the microphone fiend. What's up, man? Yeah, definitely not down with the show grandpa. So I'll just chill in my cheap seats up in Viejas.
In your walker?
The walker's for me. These
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yes,
of course. Yes.
And that is the voice of the sandwich aficionado. Is that title still holding up strong?
Oh,
Mr. Mike Tortolot. What's up, Mike?
Oh boy, here we go. Hey, what's up, guys? I hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving, and Fiend and I have been talking about sandwiches. So
Is it all turkey sandwiches this past week? All turkey sandwiches.
the moist maker, the one from Friends.
I didn't have one turkey sandwich. We cooked a real small turkey, so there weren't a whole lot of leftovers.
I didn't either, but it was a good Thanksgiving. Hope you guys had a good one.
Well, we could have had a good one. I mean, you know, all things considered. The Aztecs went to Maui, came back with one victory. They didn't bring back an opportunity for Fiend to go streaking down Montezuma. That didn't happen, but you know, they came out, you know, hey, you lost to two solid teams, two top 15 teams at the end of the day, and Arizona's probably ranked much higher than that. But, you know, we're going to go through a couple of these games from the Maui tournament, guys, because, you know, everybody has had a little chance to breathe since those games. And, of course, we're back in the win column because last night, an incredible game against UC Irvine. We got a lot of that to get into. But first, let's start from the beginning, guys. Let's start about the Maui tournament because it happened during Thanksgiving week. Ohio State, we were talking all about them and how the potential to get their star, what's his name? Zed Key, get him in foul trouble. And that's exactly what happened, Fiend. What'd you take from that game?
Yeah, it was exactly how I thought it might play out in the first half when Zed Key got into foul trouble. And that's really when we went on our run, when he went to the bench. And I was a little surprised that our bigs weren't a little more dominant in that game. I thought because we had, you know, Zed Key was like the biggest guy. Well, they had a freshman, was like 6'10", but didn't have a lot of experience. I thought that Mensa and Ladie, Arope, and Johnson would really dominate in that game, and they really didn't produce as far as points-wise. This was a guard-driven game. I mean, you know, Bradley had a fantastic game. Trammell was good. I mean, our guards were really good in that game. So were Ohio State's. So, you know, it was an exciting game. I think we wore them out.
88-77. You're right, man. All the guards were pretty hot. Like Bradley 18, Lamont with 15. Micah Parrish had 15, Seiko had 14, and they were 10 for 21 at 3-point line. I thought our size was like the big factor, right? We were able to get Key in that foul trouble, like you said. But then moving into the next game against Arizona, you know, Mike, we were talking about how we had the size advantage over Ohio State, but like we're a big team, but Arizona's like NBA big. What'd you take away from losing to Arizona 87-70?
I mean, Arizona's a big team. They, like I said, I thought they were the best team in that that tournament, and they won it. So they were just, they don't have a lot of depth, I don't believe, but they are really good starting five. I mean, arguably, I think I texted you guys. I think arguably they might be one of the best starting fives in the country. Maybe not the best, but they're in the discussion, I think. Big dudes. I mean, they're all pretty much European guys. You know what I mean? And so they could all shoot. That one guy where he did like the alley, you know, he threw it up to him and he did the alley oop behind his back and scored. That was one of the most unreal plays I've ever seen. But they played, I mean, they played well, man. They're a very, very good team. I think I said they were probably gonna be the least elite eight team, and they handled us like they did. We're not, I think we have the potential to be as good as them, but it was a good learning experience to play a team like that just is very, very good this early in the season. And, you know, I hope we get the chance to play them again.
Arizona's kind of quickly becoming like one of those just really annoying teams to play against. Like even the look of their guys, it's like BYU, you know, always know you got that punchable face opponent that is just, he just drives you nuts, but he's really good. Like Arizona is kind of a similar player, like back in the days, Nick Johnson and freaking, you know, you can name several of those guys that they're just annoying to watch play because they're so good. And they always seem to get the calls against us. In this game, Kerr Kriisa, I was bagging on him on Twitter. He was getting all the calls. Like the only advantage we had in that game were our guards because they were quicker. They were smaller, but they were quicker. Lamont Butler, of course, Darian Trammell. They were picking his pocket left and right, but the refs pretty much took that aggressiveness out of our hands when they got each of our guards with 4 fouls. Like you can't defend that. I mean, Fiend, what do you say about that performance? We got blown out in this game down the stretch, but this game was pretty close when we made that furious comeback before the half.
Yeah, you know, Arizona, I think, is a better team than I thought they were. Coming out of Maui, they were better than what I thought going in. You know, I remember when I said that if we won the Maui tournament, we would be top 5 in the country. They won the Maui tournament and they're ranked 4th, right? And I mean, and they deserve it. I mean, they played fantastic. I mean, you know, it was a game where they were up on us big that Courtney Ramey couldn't miss. I mean, that guy was I don't think he missed from 3-point range. Their guard is a transfer from Texas.
Yeah.
He's the one that really hurt us because every time we tried to go on a run, he would nail some big shot. And then we finally kept cutting the lead down. And then in the second half, you know, then we went ahead. And then all of a sudden they just started running on us. And, you know, that their tempo, we just couldn't keep up. Couldn't keep up with them. They're too big. They're too long. They're too skilled. You know, you've got the huge guy, Balo, who just made Ladie look small, you know, and made Mensa look small. That guy was massive.
He made Mensa look little. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other guy, Tavelis, I mean, that guy he's like a 6'11", you know, shooting guard. I mean, he's got guard skills. This guy can handle the ball. I mean, like you said, that behind the back dunk that he had. I mean, it was ridiculous. I hadn't seen those guys. It was the first time I got a chance to see them this year, and I was really impressed. So, you know, my kudos to them. They deserve to win that game. They deserve to win that tournament. And I think that they could be a Final Four pick. So there's no shame in losing the way that we did. I mean, that we just lost to a great opponent.
Yeah, I think, yeah, Ramey was 5-5 from behind the arc. We were there. We had an opportunity to come back, and then those 2 ticky-tack fouls on Trammell, where he popped the ball out from Kriisa. They called a foul, and then right after that, remember they called the blocking foul on him, where Risa pushed him with his arm. I believe it was Risa pushed him with his arm, and he called, you know, a blocking foul, which is Bush League. So bang bang within, like, I don't know, 10 seconds or whatever it is. That I think that was the 2 plays that changed the complexion of where, like, hey, we could have a chance to come back, because Trammell gets that steal, goes down for a layup, you know, who knows? So I think that's when it kind of fell apart there. It was kind of like that. I'm not going to say it, but it was kind of like another game that we played before where we had a couple of fouls. You know what I mean?
Okay, Arizona, that's an annoying loss. But, you know, in this type of tournament setting, Mike, I know you love it because it's like there's no time to sleep. The next day, you have an opportunity to bounce back, get back in the win column, and salvage, you know, make the most out of this thing. And like you said, Fiend, the winner of this tournament was going to be top 5. And sure enough, Arizona's right there. But playing against Arkansas, Eric Musselman, Arkansas is a really good team. And they're playing without one of their best players in this tournament. So they're a really young team, like you guys described. But Arkansas is number 11. That could have been us. You know, San Diego State walked away from this tournament really realizing and kicking themselves because what could have been. 78-74. This game against Arkansas is one that we're not going to forget the whole season, because this is going to be in that back pocket of Brian Dutcher and the rest of the team to be reflecting back on that you had it within your grasp. But let's talk a little bit about this game, because Matt Bradley went off. You know, and after that, he kind of set the tone, and everybody else kind of trickled in with their contributions here and there. We had good control of the game, but then Arkansas down the stretch. I mean, the defensive intensity that they brought, we couldn't match it. What are your thoughts on this game, Fiend?
I mean, it was a defensive game. I mean, neither team shot well during this game. It was two great defensive teams, and I mean, our guards, I don't know what it is, but it's been like the last 3 or 4 games. Our guards, Tramel, Butler, and Bradley, have not been shooting the 3 well. And that was the same thing against Arkansas. I mean, they were 2 for 12 on the game. You guards can't shoot that kind of percentage and expect to win a game, you know, but yet we were up because of our defense and getting all those steals and, you know, transition buckets. Yeah, so I shouldn't be just singling those guys out. I mean, it was the entire team that just didn't shoot well that game, and I think a lot of it had to do with Arkansas's length. You know, we just weren't moving the ball that well. We were not getting a lot of catch and shoot shots in that game, and you saw a lot more Bradley ISO, which is, I mean, he can make tough shots. We've covered this before, but they're not real high percentage. You know, they're more efficient when we can move the ball and get an open look. You know, an uncontested 3. But for most of the game, I mean, for almost the majority of the game, we controlled this game, except for like the last couple of minutes.
I mean, this was a pretty brutal way to end this game.
I mean, it wasn't great. It's not great, right? I mean, I personally, when I text you guys, I thought they were going to handle us pretty well, Arkansas. I'm glad I was wrong. I mean, I really am. I was really impressed by how these guys came out and took it to them initially after the Arizona game. So I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, we played well until the last, you know, I mean, Butler just had an unfortunate series. I mean, it just happens. You know, he's human. You know, it's like one of those things where you can do everything right. You know, 99 out of 100, you do one thing wrong and people are going to remember it, or it's going to, you know, something's going to affect you more than the other ones, right? And people remember the bad more than the good, right? Butler's had a good season so far. So, yeah, you know, I'd rather have it now. It was unfortunate. I would love to have beat Musselman, because I think Musselman is like, Musselman is, there's no question he's a good coach. His personality is like that toddler who throws a temper tantrum and he can't control himself. And then he comes back and apologizes, and he doesn't know how to, he sees red. Right. And so, you know, especially it's like against Dutch, who's supposed to be your guy, like they're really close, right? And their old man coach together. It's like, it's just really unfortunate to see that. And I think it was, I don't know about the theatrics of what went on. I was just sitting on the couch and my wife's like, are you okay? I'm like, you know, I don't know. I think the shooting is an issue with the 3. We've talked about the 3-point stuff. They fall in love with that stuff and they're like, go ahead and shoot it, or we're going to come out and guard you. And we also have shooters who are like, hey, we're not going to double certain guys because we don't need to, or we're going to double this guy because we know so-and-so is not going to shoot, like a Rope's not going to shoot from 3, or Mensah's not going to shoot from 3. So, you know, these coaches are good, man. They figure things out pretty quick for us and against us. So these guys are going to have to adapt. I know I go back to the baseball thing, but it's like, hey, you play that first year and you're rookie of the year. Those guys have an off season to figure out your batting style and how you hit from certain places and where. So this is a little more compact review of that, because each game is more critical than, you know, the 162. But we're going to have to adjust to them while they're adjusting to us. I read something about, oh, well, this, you know, it's a season to find. Fuck that, man. Like we win the Mountain West and we win the tournament. Who cares? We're in. This is all going to help us in the long run. You know, the 3 months is a long time.
You said something early in the week. You were like, Musselman knows us. And I was like, dude, we got Musselman's number. But you had a point, and it's kind of an interesting thought that Musselman does know the Aztecs. He knows the coaching staff. He knows the players. So how much more venomous was it at the end? You know, I was looking for the photo all over Twitter, and somebody finally posted the photo of him throwing up that L to the Aztecs bench or the team or whoever it was. It was almost like the Zapruder film, like, right, you're getting all these photos, like every angle, like where's the L, where, you know, and then finally saw it. And like you said, he knows this team, he knows this players. Like, I don't know if that was directly aimed at Bradley when he did it. It sounds like it was, because Bradley was furious and smashed the chair and all that. He came out with an apology, kind of seemed a little weak. I mean, what are the odds, Fiend, that the Maui Invitational invites back Arkansas as long as they have Musselman?
I think that's the only reason why he apologized, because they want to get an invite back. They do draw a lot of fans. They had a great attendance there. They have a huge fan base. So I think that apology was half-hearted and sort of an attempt to kind of, you know, save face with the Maui Invitational and in hopes that they do get invited back. But Musselman hasn't changed. And this is the same Musselman that we knew from Nevada, you know, whose team, you know, instigated something, you know, some controversy that happened at Utah State that resulted in Jordan Caroline putting his fist through a fire extinguisher case, a glass fire extinguisher case. And that was all caught on film, you know, because some assistant coaches from Nevada were refusing to shake the Utah State coach's hands going through the handshake line, right? Starts at the top, right? Leadership starts at the top, trickles down. And we saw it at Nevada. Musselman has this sort of cult of personality, okay? The people from Nevada, you could see it. He was like infallible. He could do no wrong there.
Right.
You know, and they worshiped him there while he was there, and he won a lot of games for them. And he's a great coach. He knows his X's and O's. He knows how to recruit. You know, but he's able to also develop this sort of this leader, this like cult leader, and I don't know how else to put it, you know, and it's transferred over to Arkansas, and you could see it in the reaction from the Arkansas fans after the game, because they were all defending him. Like, it was like, dude, this guy's a jerk. Like, and you don't see it. And it was all our fault because, you know, we had people going, it's unbelievable that like people, the Arkansas fans, you know, they drank from the same well as the Nevada fans, you know, but I do want to say this. I thought one of the funniest things that I saw with that whole post-game incident was it was a video that was on Twitter that showed from the SDSU fans' vantage point, and you could see whoever it was that was kind of advancing towards the Arkansas coaches. And then in the very back, you see the security guard kind of briskly moving Musselman towards the locker room. And right before he gets to the locker room, he gets him underneath his armpits and lifts him up and like carries him into the locker room, like all 5'7", 150 pounds, like he's screaming and kicking and yelling like a little kid on his way out to the locker room. And I was just laughing hysterically when I saw that.
It is an interesting phenomenon, man. I mean, you know, when you see a leader like that act that ways, when you're not on his side, it makes you sick. But when that's your leader, for the most part, it's kind of a human nature thing where it's like, yeah, our leader's tough. He's talking tough. He's being tough, you know, screw you guys. Our leader, Brian Dutcher, was very respectful in the post game, right? He spoke about how highly the kids are, the teammates, they reflect their family, the university last, but it's their name, you know, their family and whatnot. But my question to you guys, and I know I picked this with you, Fiend, earlier in the week. I was like, but during that whole melee, I would have liked to have seen Coach Dutch out there. I understand he got, I guess, a head start heading into the locker room. Maybe he had something prepared. But in those type of situations, I'm sure he trusts the assistants to handle everything. Like we said, Musselman knows us. He knows Musselman. Like, this was a highly emotional game. It's a small arena. Everybody's on top of each other, yelling, cursing, screaming. Our fans were being pretty obnoxious. I just would have liked to have seen Dutch out there making sure, hey, you want to talk to my team? You're going to talk to me first. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think I'm surprised Dutch was not out there, and I think he probably could have de-escalated the situation some if he had stepped in there. Because Dutcher does command a lot of respect.
Absolutely.
And I think if he had been out there and stepped in, that he might have been able to calm the situation down. So I don't know why he was in the locker room and didn't come back out. But you're right, it may have helped the situation.
One thing, Mike, I appreciate you the very next day putting out that video, talking directly to Aztec Nation, and it was like, look, guys, we had a great run out there in Maui, learned a lot of things. And it was like a good opportunity for everybody. Okay, let's calm down the next morning after, be thankful for this team and everything. Let's circle back to Lamont Butler, because it's no mystery. Lamont Butler is our NIL, first ever basketball NIL participant on our team. And I loved the article that came out shortly after with Mark Ziegler. Like you said, he owned it. He spoke up about it. He admitted, his, errors at the end of that game against Arkansas. But one of the things I loved what he said, I can't just let 6 seconds define who I am. I feel like I've been playing well this whole season. I have to keep my head down, keep working, stay humble, and win more games. Like, that just sums up just what a class young man he is to there's a lot of vitriol out there on social media, a lot of hate, a lot of love. He's like, hey, you got to love the hate, you got to love the love, because when it comes, he owned it. And so I think this is a great opportunity to let everybody know, hey, we're going forward with our guy. We are Sons of Montezuma. We support our players, no matter who they are on the team, no matter what's going on. And so we are releasing his official gear on the sonsofmontezuma.com shop this week. They are available. So I want to encourage everybody, go support. You say you're a fan, go be a real fan. Be a good fan. We can all talk trash about players and their performance, but how about your performance as a fan? So go support Lamont Butler. We got some really cool tees coming for him. And hey, there might be some other players in the works as well. So I appreciate that, Mike. I appreciate your words, man. It really settled down. I know it did some good settling down a lot of people out there who were frustrated the next day.
Yeah. No, I just, as you get older, man, we're not 22. These guys could be our kids, man. Let's just be honest, right? And I talked to Fiend about it. I was like, dude, like, we're talking about like guys who are kids. Like, it's kind of, and he's like, well, that's kind of what we do, and that's, I look at it at a certain point now, having a daughter, you can break somebody down or you can build them up. It's easy to break somebody down because it's just easy. You could do it to anybody, but to build somebody back up and give someone, you don't know what's gonna make someone go some way, one way or the other. And these are 20-year-old kids, man, that are in positions that we were never in or will never have an opportunity to be in. Right. Mm-hmm. And so they are in a opportunity that is of a lifetime, and they're all fantastic kids. Let's just be honest. I mean, I hear them, I listen to them, I watch them. They're great dudes. They're great human beings. They're great basketball players. I mean, unfortunately, you look at like you said, they take on the role of their coach, and that one guy, Brazil for Arkansas, did the same shit that Musselman did to the thing. It's kind of gutter rat shit, man. Like, he's kind of a gutter rat, dude. So it's like, be better. And unfortunately, some people can't. They don't know how to do that, So, but like, I just look at all these guys, and you're like, man, these are humble, hardworking. They take the loss harder than we do, right. And so to put that out, I was like, hey man, it's okay. Strength of schedule is 4 at that point. Now it's 6. We're still 5-2. We were never going to go undefeated. Let's just be honest, especially against that. And if we did, holy shit, right? That's a whole different story. But just be thankful for what we have. We have an opportunity to watch the 24th ranked team in the country. That's our hometown team, that we, went to school there. And so it's, I'll support these guys through thick and thin, because at the end of the day, let's see what they do at the end of the year. And I'm really excited to see that opportunity. And, I apologize if I was heavy breathing. It's high altitude up here. It was cold and that dog was pulling me. So I was like, is he all right? He probably needs to do some cardio. I do need to do some cardio. I know that.
Yeah. With Lamont, he had a great Maui tournament. He played really, really well in the Maui tournament. It was just those last couple of plays. And I think for a lot of us fans, it was like taking that Creighton wound from last March and sort of ripping it open, the way that we lost that game. And so I think a lot of he did take some direct hate from some people and that's wrong. But I think a lot of people were just upset because I know I was, and I think I even put it out there on Twitter, like, did we learn anything from the Creighton game? Because it was just that game was so painful. And then it was like staring it right in the face again. And, and so just those emotions come out, I wasn't directing them toward, Lamont Butler. It was just more as a team, and more towards Dutcher, because I felt like, Dutcher really needs to, in that situation, needs to do a better job communicating and putting the right guys in the right situations. And I don't know, if he's really drilling home those things in the timeouts or what. I'm not down there on the floor, but it's frustrating when that happens again. But in the grand scheme of things, look, we lost to a great team. It's not gonna hurt us that bad as far as like seeding for March Madness. We learned a ton from this tournament that we can, take moving forward to make us better as a team, as we start heading into conference play.
Well said. Well said. All right, guys, let's take a little bit of a halftime.
So coach in timeout, he called the play for Matt, and I told Adam to switch sides because I knew like I was gonna make it on that side. And Matt was a great playmaker, so he made the one more pass to me open, and I shot it with confidence. I kind of looked away. I don't think people can see that, but I looked away. I knew I made it. Yeah, Matt is one of the best passers on the team. I know last year he led the team in assists, and I don't think he get enough credit for that. He's a willing passer when he don't have a shot or anything going. So.
We returned from Maui, number 24 on the AP poll. And boy, it was great to get back in the win column. Last night, as we're recording this, the Aztecs beat UC Irvine, a tough UC Irvine team, 72-69. Like, I'm glad that this game came down to the wire. I really am, because they needed to get tested again in that type of a situation. And the boys came out victorious this time. Just an incredible, almost a buzzer beating shot, 3-point shot by Micah Parrish. He sinks it. Aztecs win. I did not want to see social media if we would have lost this game. I know you did some pretty good research on UC Irvine, even though we didn't have you write up anything, Fiend. But tell us about this star player there, because he was pretty hot.
Yeah, DJ Davis. He's played with Lamont Butler at Riverside Poly. They're the two guards on their team. I mean, that guy was the best player on the court, I think, in that game. He was amazing. I mean, the guy scored 28 points, 4 of 6 from 3-pointers, 9 of 17 overall. I mean, I don't even know how many steals he had. It seemed like he had a bunch of steals. He did turn it over a few times, but he was just hitting ridiculous. I mean, his 3-point shots were well beyond NBA range, and he was knocking down. I mean, I think Trammell, I saw him kind of turn around after he hit a 3-point shot from way out, and was just like, what am I going to do? You know, like, so
Yeah.
I was really impressed. And, you know, it came down at the end where, you know, we were trying to stop him. We doubled him, and he passed off to that Dawson Baker with a little 10-foot floater and put them up before, you know, Parrish's big shot. But I give Irvine a lot of credit. I think they're an underrated team. I think they could win the Big West. I also think, you know, this is a team that beat Oregon at Oregon. They also beat New Mexico State as a pretty good team. They beat them handily in their Vegas tournament. And Irvine, with their guards and the way that they play, great defense and their outside shooting. I mean, their whole team is shooting over 40% from 3-point. It's awesome. But I think that team could potentially knock off, you know, be a Cinderella in March Madness. They could be a 14th seed or a 13th seed and knock off a higher ranked seed to move on to the round of 32. That's how good that I think they are.
I didn't see it coming, to be honest with you. The beginning of that game was sloppy. It was a turnover fest. Like, it was just like, oh man, these guys, they didn't get off the plane yet. And neither did, you know, Irvine. I mean, they were turning the ball over left and right as well. The story of the game to me is Mount Mensa, 18 points and 6 rebounds. I mean, he was a pretty legit force down there. I mean, it wasn't the type of performance that you were like, you know, give it to Mensa down low and let him work. But it was just one of those things that he was making the most out of his opportunities. Mike, what did you think of this game? Were you able to see this game on your view or the Mountain West app, or streaming
Christ.
this thing somehow?
The Mountain West app sucks, dude. It's absolute dog shit. Like, I'm sitting there watching it, and I can see the Boise game, and then I turn on the state game, and it's got like the preview of the 2021 UNR football. I'm like, what is this rubbish? And there's a couple other guys on the Twitter that were like, had the same issues, and like, oh, you can download your view. So I saw it. I think I got into it like 2 or 3 minutes in the game, but like the Maui hangover is real. I mean, it's the Hawaii hangover is real. You know, Arkansas had issues with some team, you know, whoever they played. I can't remember. I think it was Troy or something like that. Yep. But they had issues. But you know, Irvine is a good team. We're a good team. We didn't shoot the ball well. We're having issues shooting the threes. And like I talked about before, these guys fall in love with the threes, and when it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's bad. But they found a way to win, man. They found a way to pull it out. I think Bradley and Parrish were on the bench for most of those last 7 minutes of the game, right? They subbed them out, and then they came back in with 13 seconds left. They literally didn't come back until the last, right before that shot. And then him and Seiko, I guess I was reading something, they flipped sides, you know, so he was on the other side. But he shot that, and I was like, well, that looks good. And then he hit it, and he walked away. He did that Steph Curry thing. I hate Steph Curry. Fuck him. But he walked away and said, you know, he did that thing where he walked away just like as he shot it, you know, after shot it. And I was like, damn, that's cool. And then that reminded me, you know, of a couple of shots like the Chase Tapley shot against Boise and things like that. But I mean, dude, I am happy with how this team is finding ways to win games in different ways. I wish they would kind of go a little deeper in the paint. Like Johnson, he starts playing a little bit more in those little jump shots and getting rebounds. He's a force down there. And, you know, Mensa, you put those guys down there, and then Ladie's having a little bit of a struggle, but, you know, he'll figure it out. I mean, he hasn't, you know, it's the first time he played in, you know, 20 months, but I am pleasantly surprised with Micah Parrish. I wasn't sure. Everything I read was he was defense, but he's a hell of a player, man. Like, he is a great player. And Fiend said last time, our offense is ahead of our defense. Absolutely. We have some issues on defense that we'll figure out eventually, but I've always said in the tournament, you score points to win. Very few games are won by defense. You know, I mean, it's certain stops here and there, and these guys are finding out ways to win. This is still going to help them in the long run.
What can I add to that? I mean, it just that the game. So I'm wearing the Aztecs jersey that was the free giveaway in 2019-2020 season when Malachi Flynn hit that 3-pointer against San Jose State to win that game. And this game, Micah Parrish's shot really reminded me of that, even though it wasn't like as close to the buzzer, but we needed it. We need, if he doesn't make that shot, we lose that game.
Yeah.
And it was huge. And so as much as, you know, people were complaining that the Aztecs can't close out games, now they showed that they can actually come back and win a game. And so the last couple minutes, I tell you what, being in that gym, it was really kind of quiet for most of the night, but those last couple of minutes when we made that comeback, we're hitting those big shots, it was back and forth, and then bang, Parrish hits that 3, and the place was just bonkers. Awesome. That is college basketball. That's the type of stuff I love.
Yeah, you're spurring up the Dick Vitale, man. Yeah, baby, college basketball. Let's do this. Okay. I got questions for both of you guys, but we got to do this in a timely manner. So, on the shot clock, both of you guys get a chance to answer, but you only get a shot clock's worth of time to give me your answers.
Okay.
So, Mike, when it comes to our 3-pointers and Micah Parrish hitting that 3 that was so badly needed, we've been horrible at 3-point line these last few games. Can this team shoot? Or are they just on a cold streak?
I think they're a little bit of a cold streak. I think they can shoot. I mean, they made the last three-pointers of the game to end it, but they got to start driving the hole and getting, into the paint and then kicking it out. I think what the defenses are doing, they're staying a little bit further out, knowing, hey, they're more susceptible to shooting a 3 than going and driving. So I think we need to be a little bit more balanced on offense, I think.
Okay, he beat the shot clock buzzer there. Fiend, you're on the clock, man. What is it going to take? Can this team shoot or?
Yeah, Mike, I totally disagree with you there.
I disagree,
They don't need to go inside out. We just need to move the ball like we did yesterday and just hit the shots. We had a lot of open shots that we just missed in that game. But I like the fact that we're starting to move the ball more and we're getting more open looks for our 3-point shooters. Eventually those are going to go down. It always seems like if one guy gets hot, then it's infectious and another guy starts hitting. If we can get on a hot streak, we're going to knock down some 3s as long as we move the basketball.
Oh, I started down to 10 seconds to wind you down. You were about to get booted. All right, Fiend, you got the possession now. For Jaden Ledee, he's been struggling like pretty bad. With the shot clock in your back, give us your best Jaden Ledee pep talk in the huddle. You're talking to Jaden in the huddle right now. Timeout's been called. You got to get a big shot. Give us your best pep talk to Jaden Ledee. Go.
Jaden, I want you to think back to last year when you were on the practice squad and you were grabbing every single rebound in there and just dominating. I want you to get back to that mentality, and I want you to get out there and be a dog on the court. Forget about shooting those 3-pointers. Do what you do best. Go to the rack and get a bucket, or get fouled and go to the free throw line. You got this.
2,
1. I see the smoke. Does Mike want the smoke? All right, man. You got the shot clock is in your back. You got Jaden right there in the timeout. What's it gonna be, Mike?
Hey, you're a great player. You're here for a reason. Go out and play your game. It's going to come to you. If not right now, just keep grinding, and you're gonna get where you need to be. I'm not worried about you. Play your game. It's going to all work itself out.
Wow, that was very Phil Jackson. That's
Short and sweet.
And by the way, Fiend, of our losses, the losses we've had less than 10 assists in both games. The other ones we've had more than 10. So you're right. We do need to move the ball, but I agree with you, but I also disagree with you. And I love you.
Very, very, very zen up in this mother. All right, Mike, last question with the shot clock. You're talking to Coach Dutch. Do you think it's the right time, or don't you think it's the right time to start to mix up the starting 5 to open the game? Give us your best position.
No, I mean, I think he knows what he's doing. He's still trying to figure out his team. You know what I mean? Like the thing with Micah and Seiko, he's like, hey, I didn't think about putting him on the other side and flipped him, and I'm still learning my team. If I wanted to ask Dutch a question, I would be like, how do you raise 2 daughters, dude? Because I'm trying to figure out how to raise one, and he's got 2. And I'm like, that's the question I would be asking him. Honestly, I wouldn't even talking about basketball. I'm like, hey, what do you have any tips for me? But yeah, I think he's gonna figure it out, and it's all, you know, he always figures it out in Mountain West season. That's when he kind of locks it in. So he's always tinkering until then, and then he kind of gets his guys and he gets his flow.
All right. I like that. Fiend. All right, you see Mike's stance. You got the shot clock. Let's go.
I don't think you guys want to hear this.
Are you gonna do it again?
So look, Dutch, why are you trying to put a square peg in a round hole? All right, this starting lineup is not working. Every single game we get off to a slow start, and then you bring the second unit in, and then things start to move. Why don't we just cut to the chase and shake up that lineup so that we get more production early on, and then just let it flow through the game? Let's not wait till we get 5 minutes in while we got 3-4 turnovers and only maybe 4 points before we get things going. Come on, dog. Let's go, Dutch. Make some changes.
He came in with the come on, dog. Oh, I want to see you say that to Coach Dutch one of these days. Come on, dog. Come on.
How much would you pay me if I said that to him at the banquet?
He probably asked why you didn't streak.
Come on, dog.
I don't know. I mean, guys won 120 something games in 5 years. You know.
That's why I'm on the mic and he's behind the bench.
I mean, he's in front of the bench, but yes.
Okay, so just to read down some stats before we move on, Darian Trammell is actually the leading scorer on this Aztecs team so far with 13 points. Matt Bradley, despite some early struggles, he's found his way and he's up to 11 points per game. So that's pretty good, man. These two guys, they're both starters, and we'll see. We'll see how things pan out as we move forward. Who do we got next? Looks like we got Occidental. Is that who we have on Friday? Occidental at home, and then Troy on Monday.
What division is Occidental? Are they a
D3.
Division 2?
D3.
D3. Okay.
Yeah. It'll be interesting because we have Troy because they played Arkansas. So I'm curious to see. I mean, I don't know that Arkansas game. They flew how many 4 time zones or something like that to get home. So that I don't know. It will be interesting to see how they play against Troy. But then hey, the boys are back. The boys are back together in Phoenix for the St. Mary's game at 12 o'clock. I guess that's. I don't know. Is that 12 o'clock our time or 1? Because it's an hour ahead in Arizona, right? So is it 1 o'clock their time or 12 o'clock?
I'm gonna say 1 o'clock.
Okay,
but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
I'm sure we can go. We got that midget bar that Friday night, right? We're going to the midget bar in Scottsdale.
Yeah,
let's do it, man. Little, you know,
you'll have to make sure we find that place. Otherwise, we'll have to.
I've been there. Yeah. So no, it'll be exciting, dude. We'll get together on Friday night and then go to the game on Saturday and hang out Saturday night, man. It'll be fun.
I am looking forward to it, and I'm sure all listeners are going to be looking forward to our many tales going to Phoenix and watching the Aztecs against St. Mary's. We might have to record something before then. We'll see. I'm not sure.
We might have to record something while we're there.
Yeah.
Why not?
So let me ask this: who would you put as your starters? That whole second group as your starters?
I'm not gonna go there. I don't want to single anyone out like that. They're not performing or what. No, not gonna do it. Okay. I answered the question.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you for your time. Make sure you go check out that Lamont Butler gear available on sonsofmontezuma.com.
Grab that Lamont gear, that NIL gear, man. Definitely support Lamont.
For sonsofmontezuma.com, signing off is Mateo San Diego, SD Sports Fiend, Mike Tortolot. Go Aztecs.
Go Aztecs.
Go Aztecs. And even dropping dimes if he's not looking at shoes. A-Dub, Sling 2, catching all the deep ball. Or in the lane, jumping over people like a leapfrog.